In the harsh winter of 1959, a group of 9 intrepid hikers from the Ural Polytechnic Institute prepared for what would be the adventure of a lifetime. Their destination was Mount Otorten, a remote and forbidding peak in the northern Ural Mountains of the Soviet Union, known for its icy slopes and treacherous terrain. Leading the expedition was Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student with a reputation for meticulous planning and unwavering determination. Alongside him were 8 fellow students, each with experience in hiking, skiing, and navigating the unforgiving wilderness, and one instructor who brought additional guidance and expertise. They trained rigorously, packed carefully, and carried with them the essential tools for survival: sturdy tents, insulated sleeping bags, food supplies, and winter gear designed to withstand extreme cold. Fate, however, would intervene in the form of illness. One member, Yuri, was forced to turn back early in the journey. While this removed him from the unfolding tragedy, it would save his life, leaving him as the only witness to the fateful expedition that would haunt history. February 1st, 1959. The Dyatlov group arrives at the slopes of Kholat Syakhl, a name in the local Mansi language that means Mountain of the Dead. The wind howls across an open, treeless expanse. Snow falls relentlessly, carried sideways by strong gusts. Frost bites at every inch of exposed skin. They set up a large 9-person tent, digging into the slope for stability. It's an unusual choice. Here, there is no forest to shield them from the elements. But perhaps they wanted to test themselves, or perhaps they simply misjudged the risk. Beneath their boots, the snowpack is already unstable. Digging into the slope weakens the base, and above them, fresh snow keeps falling. The weight builds silently. Sometime in the night, the snowfield begins to shift. Not a roaring avalanche, but a slow, relentless push. It presses into the tent, starting from the entrance. Inside, the hikers are startled awake. Panic spreads. They scramble to dress, but some manage only underwear or light pajamas. The entrance is blocked. There's no time to dig it open. In desperation, someone slashes a hole in the tent wall from the inside, and one by one they crawl out into the darkness. They descend the slope, their breath crystallizing instantly in the -30 degrees Celsius air. The group makes it about 1,500 meters down to the edge of a sparse forest, a place they believe will be safe. But now, another problem: the cold. 2 members, barely clothed, huddle near a Siberian pine. They manage to start a small fire. But it's not enough. Hours later, the flames die, and so do they. 3 others, including Igor Dyatlov himself, attempt to make the long climb back to the tent, perhaps for sleeping bags or supplies. They are dressed slightly better, but their footwear is inadequate for deep snow. One by one, they collapse from exhaustion, their bodies later found at varying distances from the fire pit, frozen in the positions where they fell. The last 4 survivors head deeper into the forest. They wear warmer clothing, scavenged from their dead companions. They try to find or build a more secure shelter. But in the blinding snow, they stumble into a hidden snow hole above a frozen stream. The collapse buries them under several meters of snow. When they are finally found 2 months later, the injuries are severe: crushed ribs, fractured skulls, and the mystery of their final moments only deepens. As days passed without contact from the hikers, families grew anxious, and authorities organized an extensive search. Rescue teams navigated through dense snow, biting wind, and rugged mountain slopes, braving the same deadly conditions that had claimed the hikers. On February 26th, they stumbled upon the abandoned tent, a chilling scene frozen in time. The tent was cut open from the inside, a clear sign of sudden panic, yet belongings and essential items remained behind. No food had been taken, and many shoes were left inside. The rescuers were faced with a disturbing question. Why would 9 skilled and experienced mountaineers abandon their carefully prepared shelter in the dead of winter? Over the following weeks, the hikers' bodies were found in stages, each discovery more unsettling than the last. The positions and distances of the bodies suggested a desperate struggle for survival, a frantic search for safety, and the harsh reality of exposure to the freezing elements. Investigators were confronted with a complex and perplexing scene, one that would confound them for decades. The first 5 bodies, found near the fire pit, showed signs of hypothermia and exposure. They were partially dressed, indicating the haste and confusion with which they had fled. Bruises and fractures raised questions about how these injuries had occurred. Later, the remaining 4 were discovered further away, under several meters of snow, bearing more severe trauma. Some had broken ribs, crushed chests, or missing eyes and tongues, injuries inconsistent with normal exposure to cold or simple accidents. The combination of hypothermia, trauma, and their scattered positions painted a picture of extreme desperation and chaos. The sight seemed to defy rational explanation, creating a mystery that would baffle investigators for decades. Soviet authorities launched a formal investigation, but the evidence yielded few concrete answers. The official conclusion was that the hikers had died due to a compelling natural force, a vague phrase that left families and the public dissatisfied. While searchers and scientists attempted to piece together the events of that night, many details remained elusive. Why had the hikers left their tent in such panic? How did they end up so far apart, and how had the severe injuries been inflicted? The answers were shrouded in uncertainty, leaving the Dyatlov Pass incident officially unresolved and fueling decades of speculation and intrigue. As news of the incident spread, theories about what had happened multiplied. Some suggested a sudden avalanche forced the hikers from the tent, causing them to flee inadequately dressed and ultimately succumb to the cold. Others consider the possibility of katabatic winds, unusual downward gusts capable of disorienting even experienced mountaineers. Some researchers speculated that the hikers had inadvertently encountered a secret Soviet military test, perhaps involving missiles or parachute drops. The phenomenon of infrasound-induced panic was proposed, where low-frequency vibrations generated by wind could trigger intense fear and irrational flight behavior. More fantastical explanations involved yetis or unknown creatures, though these ideas remain in the realm of folklore. Each theory, while compelling in its own way, failed to account for all the strange injuries and behaviors observed. In 2019, Russian authorities reopened the case, motivated by new scientific methods and public interest. Researchers examined the terrain, ran simulations, and proposed the delayed slab avalanche theory as the most plausible explanation. According to this scenario, a small snow slab, weakened by wind and the way the tent was situated, collapsed onto the hikers. The impact caused trauma to some while others fled into the night in panic. Those who fled were ill-prepared for the sub-zero conditions and succumbed to hypothermia and exhaustion. Modern analysis clarified many aspects of the tragedy, yet some questions remained unanswered, leaving room for fascination, speculation, and a sense of awe at the unforgiving power of nature. Even with modern explanations, the Dyatlov Pass incident continues to captivate the world. Questions linger about the final hours, the scattered bodies, and the extreme injuries. The story endures as a haunting reminder of nature's unpredictability, the limits of human endurance, and the fragility of life in extreme environments. The 9 hikers, who once sought adventure in the mountains, have left behind a story that continues to chill, inspire, and puzzle. Their courage, their struggle, and their untimely deaths remain an enduring testament to the dangers hidden in the wild and the mysteries that can linger long after the storm has passed.